Alright, so this is the new 1998.5 Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins project that I picked up a few weeks ago. Even though it looks rough, I've actually done a lot of things to it already. So I picked it up in Oklahoma. It was down in Texas, went back up to Oklahoma. The guy was going to pull the engine for it as a donor. He ended up not pulling it. That's not really a good thing to hear when you're looking at a truck, that the truck is so rough that it was going to be a donor for the engine and the transmission, but I didn't care because I like buying crap. So I bought it. Main reason why I bought it was price point, long bed with the extended cab, and of course the manual transmission. Manual transmission is really what I was looking for. This truck though, extremely rough to say the least. When I picked it up, it was running, steering was super loose. After I bought it, literally maybe a minute after I bought it, I was reversing, put it back into first gear, lunged forward, stalled out, could not start again. I stalled out because this truck is extremely hard to, or it was extremely hard to kind of drive, even with experience my whole life driving manual vehicles. You have to give it a lot of gas. I'm not really sure what the issue was, but one of the main issues was down here. It's kind of hard to see. Well, somewhere down there, but there's the oil filter. The oil filter was bypassed, and down below that is, as you know, that side block mounted OEM fuel pump, which is absolute trash. It was awful. It was sucking up air somewhere. It had sucked air up somewhere into the VP44, and from there was air somewhere in these lines. I paid over $1,100 to get it towed 200 miles back to Texas. Next day I was able to crack the lines. I think I cracked 1 and 4, got it started, got it running, was driving it. It died on its own. I didn't stall it. It died in first gear. Could not restart it for the life of me. Had to tow it again the very next day, only about a mile back to back to where it was at. So what I ended up doing was right away ordered a fast lift pump, 100 gallon per minute or per hour, sorry. Not the top of the line, but it's still a great pump. Much better than what's already in there. And since getting that pump in here and getting some of the little issues taken care of, this truck has been running phenomenally. It starts up when it's cold, starts when it's hot. It runs good, pulls good, everything's good. Another thing that I did was replace the belt tensioner and the belt. The belt was shredded in about a quarter of the way in. That's just a couple of the little things that I did. The windshield was completely bashed out. Replaced the windshield, replaced the side tow mirrors. They were cracked as well. Today, as you can see, there's stuff going on down there. I am going to be doing the oil pan gasket, obviously an oil change. I'm going to be doing motor mounts. I'm also going to be doing front suspension work. So, as far as front suspension goes, I already installed, as you can see, the red head steering box, which is basically a much better upgraded version of the steering box that already comes in these trucks. It's obviously done by a company called Red Head Steering, I believe, and they rebuild it. They bench test it. It's tight, it's good, but I'm still having issues with the tie rods being loose. The bushings are blown out. The whole thing, the drag link. So I'm going to replace the tie rods, the drag link, the whole thing in the front. Tie rod ends, obviously. And then from there, I'm going to obviously do the oil pan gasket today, motor mounts. And it's already drivable, but it's just still loose in the front, loose steering when you're driving it. But hopefully after today, it'll be much better. My plans for this truck, I'm not really sure. I just really wanted I really wanted a second gen Cummins. That was really the main thing that I was going for. This thing is definitely a bit of a money pit. The tires are okay on it. The guy put used tires on it, but The ones in the back aren't looking too good. They are 37, so they're pretty big. I've done the bezel. The bezel was tore up. Steering wheel looks like crap, so I got to take the cover off and see why there's electrical tape on there or whatever, duct tape. I replaced the internal switch here, but as you can see, it's loose. And the reason why it's loose is because behind here, the dash core. So this dash isn't even the dash. This is just like a cover. The dash core is completely cracked out. It needs to be replaced. The dash cover needs to be replaced. The bottom half of the dash is okay, I guess. I had to replace the parking brake lever. I have an issue with the 4x4. Actually, for the 4x4, the front drive line was in the bed when I bought it. And I knew about it before I bought it, but you know, of course I still bought it. But I'm gonna put a new front U-joint on it. I got the bolts and stuff. But the issue is it won't go in too high, so I gotta mess with the linkage for the transfer case that goes to the inside lever in the cab. But yeah, the issue is with these dashes is the dash itself. You can get a new dash cover, like a legit one, for like $350. But then the dash core on the inside is like $900 for a used one. Then another thing that I found out after I bought it, while I was trying to look at it after it died, was somebody had cut out, where is it, right there, as you can see right there, those are the AC lines to the evaporator that's in the dash. Somebody cut it out, not really sure why. Compressor's still down there, but they cut everything out. My only guess would be the evaporator has an issue with it, because of course they probably didn't want to tear apart the brittle, fragile, garbage dash to get in there. So they probably just left it, cut it out, and said forget it. But right now it's raining in North Texas, but it gets extremely hot in the summer times. I'm not going to daily this truck, but it'd be nice to have AC. The whole AC system costs like $300, so it's not bad. But the issue is getting into the dash. So once I start tearing into the dash, more things will probably break. So I would prefer to buy the whole AC system and the whole dash setup so that I can just fix everything at once. But that's like $1,500 right there, just for everything, maybe more. And that's if the AC works. So there's a lot there to consider. Other than that, I mean, the truck's okay. It needs a lot of small things. It needs, you know, battery mounts and battery holders. It has the original air filter box, which is cool. I kind of want to do an S&B down the line. As far as the front bumper goes, there was no front bumper when I bought it. I don't know what happened here. I don't know if someone hit something and tore the bumper out of the frame. The frame's not damaged down the line. It's just on the ends here. Not really sure what happened. I was very, very close to buying a move bumper or some sort of steel bumper. I just don't want to weld together. I mean, I have a welder, but I don't want to weld together a steel bumper like a for move bumpers, and I don't want to spend $1,500 on another steel bumper right now, at least. So what I ended up doing was, on Amazon, I had bought a black painted OEM style bumper and the bumper brackets, and I'm going to try to line it all up. And if I can't get bolts to work, which I probably won't be able to get them work, especially on this side, I'm going to weld the brackets to the frame and keep the bumper bolted to the brackets, but they'll have the brackets welded to the frame, just so I have something up front just to protect, you know, the intercooler, and just for a better look, obviously. Obviously this truck needs a paint job pretty badly. It's not horrible. Up here, this fender's not great. As you probably saw down here on this door, I don't know what's going on here. There's a lot of chipping. The bed's pretty good. It's rhino lined. It actually has a hole right there, as you can see. It has a hole right there for like a flip over hitch. But it doesn't have the plate. It has the plate underneath that bolts to the frame, but it doesn't have the actual ball plate, the center plate. So I might buy that down the road if I need it. Another thing that you can't see is under this tire, there's a square hole that somebody cut out because clearly they had a smokestack at some point, which is fine. I actually prefer that it's gone, but I don't like the hole, and the exhaust ends about right under the cab. So finish out the exhaust, find a way to fill that hole, weld something up in there, and Rhino line that as well. But it does need a paint job at some point. It's missing a door lock on this side, and then other side as well. It's there, but I don't think I have the right key for it, so I'm gonna replace those. But overall, it's definitely a project, but at least it runs and drives. At least it's a manual, so I don't have to worry about the transmission. I think the clutch is apparently newer, allegedly. If I get 4x4 working, this fender is not original, or I mean, it's not color match. It's probably not original. There's a lot of red going on, so I don't know if some of these components came off of a red truck and then they were painted. As you can see, some overspray on the battery because somebody's lazy. But with a new windshield, new mirrors, and then hopefully some of these leaks and steering issues fixed, this truck will be much more drivable. This top core support bar thing is not from the truck either, because it talks about, I think it says something about a 5.2 liter gas, blah blah blah, so it's not from this truck. But I'm not sure what happened. It is a clean title, but yeah, this truck was definitely used and abused, but it does run and drive, and I think I'm going to definitely keep it long term. It has 295,000 miles. I paid $6,300 for it. I think it's worth it for what these trucks are going for today. But I mean, the fast fuel pump by itself was $700. The red head steering box was almost $600. And then there's so many other small things. I've already replaced the headlights. As I said, the bumper, that was like $250. Well, luckily I didn't have to do the VP44 or anything, but the VP44 by itself is like $1,000 to $1,200 depending on who you buy it from. The AC system, like I mentioned, there's a lot to it, but yes, the truck was a good deal. Still have a lot of money already in it, so you know, you kind of ask the question, is it worth it? I don't know. I think it's really hard to find a manual, especially in Texas, a manual that's clean and taken care of. And this obviously isn't clean or taken care of, but it runs and drives, and I do like that. A lot of the things here are stock. I'm not sure if it was ever tuned, but I don't think it was, just because I think the injectors are original, or at least OEM, and the airbox. So I don't think this thing was tuned. I think it was used as a work truck, but it has no blow-by. It has no major issues. It just has a lot of small inconveniences, but I think for the price, it was worth it, and it's definitely a fun weekend project. Hopefully not too many weekends, but yeah, that is part one of my journey. I guess next video we'll see what other things and updates I have. Thanks for watching.